I did, yeah, yeah. Chili.
I never been there. Really? Thank you. Sometimes it aggravates me that I make sure my kids get their birthday cake.
Yeah. Like, mine's only 17 people, 'cause I was doing like one strip of town, so it's smaller, but like they see me every day. And like in the last year, I know like 3 of them have sold, so I'm like, I'd rather just, like, I talk to those people, like, I want them to see my face.
Start smaller, do it well.
Yeah.
Good. Brittany?
I've done mailers, postcard mailers, I live in Masterson Station, and so it's 2,500 mailers, doesn't even. It's not even half, you have subdivision, I was sending them out every 2 weeks. I don't know that I got any calls on that, I did the same card as a door hanger. And I got a few calls, couple of them were take me off the list. You know, that and the neighbor, they must have all been friends, you know, because I got 3 right around the same, whatever. And that was in like November, before it got just unreasonably.
Yeah.
I can't believe that, that's horrible. Why can't they just throw it away?
Gotten a few of those, I have gotten a few of those, and I'm waiting for one. I have another realtor from the brokerage with too much, honestly, in my neighborhood, and she had for the longest time, she had one of the signs in her yard that like. My name and all the things, so I'll talk about these in a minute, but like, she scanned my things to like do property rights and stuff. So like, I've treated it just like any other lead, where then she gets the follow-up from it, and I'm waiting for this stuff contacting me. Or she's gonna rip off on my name, I don't know, but. Yeah, but I have gotten a couple, stop, but I'm just like, okay, take off. Donna, do you do a lot of farming?
Not like I used to, and I've had so many opportunities. And then didn't follow through. I actually one year did. A neighborhood book, you know, with everybody's names in it and. And just drop the ball.
Yeah. Oh,
And didn't
it
keep up.
happened. It happened. What about you, Sherry? Do you do a lot of farming?
I do, but not specifically in my neighborhood, because I live in a rural area and the houses aren't close together, but I do mailing to my area, my neighborhood, and then, the ones that I have their contact information, I send them stuff regularly.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll share, where I got my ideas, because obviously R&D, rip off and duplicate, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. For farming, we have, geographic farming, where you draw that radius, focus on that area. And then there's also demographic farming, and I kind of fell into a hybrid of the two, in that I started like you, and my first goal was my street. I'm going to do my street and do it well, and then I went to my neighborhood, and that's about 400. And then I went to the neighborhood next to us, and that took me to about 650. And now this year, here's my goal. I'm in Georgetown. I'm in my kids' school. I'm at their ball games. I'm meeting people through that. I'm doing events there that gets me contact information. So that's why I say I kind of am a hybrid between the geographic and the demographic, because moms are my demographic. That's where I am. So this year, when I was deciding, okay, do I want, my original goal was my kids my youngest is in 5th grade now. That by the end of next year, I wanted to have his entire elementary school as my farm. And then in middle school, I have 3 years to build out to cover the entire middle school district. That's a nice geography. By the time he graduates high school, cover all of Scott County High School. And then by then I just take over Scott County. And that was all. But this year, when I was deciding, okay, to get into that last kind of area for the elementary school, it was the same numbers of what I realized I already had in my database within Scott County that I've connected at trunk or treats and Easter egg hunts and this and that. So I kind of made that my farm instead. So when I do full mailers, I'm doing them to the geographic area, but then I'm also doing them to every other address I have that I've connected with in Scott County for various things in my neighborhood. So that's why I say mine is more kind of a hybrid approach, same strategies, just I'm touching them a little bit different.
I forgot, I do send postcards to everybody in my neighborhood every other.
I'm not, perfect,
So I do that,
perfect.
but that's it.
So here's where I've kind of been, they talk about the one thing, I've had, every year I try to focus on the one thing. So these two are from Family Reunion last year. That I used as kind of my models. And last year was kind of my trial year, and this year is they are getting 2 a month at the beginning of the month, and I have my plan and I will follow that plan, come hell or high water. And it's based on these two. So, he'll let me. I can pull these. So these are kind of what I walked through and then. Kind of put together piece by piece. So this is the first one, and she sold 24% of the 300 home neighborhood. So to me, I mean, if I can sell 67 houses, I will consider. And so that's a good goal. So the math in your potential farm area. Sherry, that was great that you're like, well, it's rural and maybe it doesn't have as much turnover as like a suburban neighborhood, you know? So do think about that. Like my neighborhood, the one main neighborhood in my farm closed 18 houses last year. So to me, that's a pretty good area. And once I started expanding that, I think the area I'm covering was 25 homes closed last year. So if I can get a significant portion of that, I'm gonna consider that a win. If you are in an area that just doesn't have the turnover, find a different one. And you can search that real quick in Flex, just type in the neighborhood, how many closed last year, and see what your numbers are. There are some who recommend doing a certain proportion and a certain ratio and all this. That's too much for me. It's my neighborhood. I know people are moving. In some cases, like I have a referral that's closing next week in Florida that was her sister. So even she wasn't moving, but she referred me to somebody else. As long as I'm making those connections, the closings in mind, whether I map it all out. Meet the neighbors. My goal is that they see me face to face as often as possible. So that when they get one of these, which I know has my headshot on it, I hate doing that, but they see my face. They will start to make those connections. Not every single time, but a lot of times, if I'm taking a walk with my kids, we're riding bikes through the neighborhood, walking the dog. I change them, put on a Keller Williams or a realtor shirt or a something shirt every time. I do it at ball games too, like. I'm just gonna put it on, you're gonna make the connection eventually, and then we're gonna have a conversation eventually. Or you might see the bright red KW shirt and be like, oh, she's the one who brings us donuts, or wait, did I get something in my mail from her? And start making those connections. So as often as I can get in front of them as I can. I don't door knock my neighborhood because, and the only reason I don't specifically door knock it is because we have a very active and passionate neighborhood social media group. That when the AT&T people and the pest control people and all that blows up, and I don't want to blow up the social media group in a bad way. So I don't do that, but I'll talk about some of the things that I do instead of. I'll talk through some of that. The handwritten note is my goal. I will write a handwritten note when they scan a QR code to get a home evaluation. I will write a handwritten note. I have one in the neighborhood that I saw a dumpster out front yesterday. So this morning I wrote a handwritten note, hey, I saw a dumpster out front, just curious if you're remodeling. Or if there's anything I can help with, pick my card in, I look down the street, dropped it in the mail today. If there's anything that you can connect with those. I like the idea that ring cameras are everywhere. I have to remind myself that sometimes it's like I'm yelling at my 10-year-old down the street, like somebody's gonna catch this on camera and be like, there's that crazy realtor. But keep those in mind. When you print things about things you've sold in the community, I'll show you some of the things that I use for that. Join our neighborhood Facebook page. If your neighborhood does not have a neighborhood Facebook page, you need to make one. Do you all know if your else does?
Mine does, but it's like so ancient.
That's a problem too. Ours does, and midway through the year last year, we had some drama with our HOA. Which side note, do not join your HOA. Don't, I've been asked to, I'm on the social committee for my HOA, but I tell them, you know, I would really love to, but because of the business that I'm in. My broker, I don't know if it's true, my broker just feels like it's a conflict of interest, so I'm glad to do help with the social committee, but I'm not gonna be on the HOA.
That's smart.
I will not, I've been asked to, I'm like, I don't want that. So last year, there was drama and every member of our HOA, including the admin of the Facebook page, left. So she made a post in it that basically was. You all, I'm out, if somebody doesn't take over admin of this Facebook page, it's gonna go away.
Oh.
So now I'm admin. And that helps too with some of it. But use those Facebook pages if you can get in them, or if you can reactivate one. It's a really good way to get with them, and I heard that over and over at family. Use those Facebook pages. Here's some of their tips for it. 4 posts per month in the group, 2 that are about real estate, 2 that are about just general community events or just neighborhood stuff. Just to be someone who is in there and participating, not really promoting real estate. The more you're in there and participate, the more people engage with it, the more they will see all of your stuff, whether it's real estate or not, and the more they're making those connections of, oh yeah, that's the real estate guy that walks his dog, or that's the whatever it might be. I come on in, now that I'm an admin, I get the alerts as soon as they go up, just to make sure it's nothing crazy. But I comment on everything about it, whatever it might be. I would. Community management, creative post group, ours is closed, I asked for, and this was set up before I had it, but they have to give the address, are they renting or not? And then now that I'm on, I check PBA real quick. And if they're a renter, I might ask them a couple follow-up questions. We do get a lot of people who are like, duct cleaning services and blow up the group and things like that, so. Closed groups are better than open. The vendor list is huge. You will always have people in that neighborhood group who say, oh my God, the windstorm knocked some shingles off. What can I do? Oh, do y'all need another one?
We can share.
Okay, what do I do? So I'll show you, I have some graphics ready-made on my phone of like roofers, plumbers, this and that. So as soon as anybody asks about anything, it's already on my phone. I just link that graphic that has my branding on it. And I say, oh, I have this vendor list, if you need anything else, let me know. I actually got a connection, added somebody to my database last week. They sent me a random Facebook message asking for painters. I didn't even know the name. I just sent my vendor list and said, hey, by the way, how did we connect? And he said, oh, I live in Elkhorn Green, I see your Facebook post. So I was like, oh, actually, oops, error, that didn't send. Can you send me your email address and I'll send it to you? So now I have his email address. And send it my vendor. The things like that, just they're seeing you're there. You might not sell the house today, but you're making those connections.
Did you worry about giving out the names of vendors?
I've checked with them. Every, I have vendors that either I have used personally or a client has used personally. Or I've heard about from one, I have a couple on here that I've heard about through you all. And if I've worked with them personally, I say, hey, I keep this vendor list, I'd love to add you on it. But I need to know it's high quality work. If I send you somebody, I need to know you're taking care of them. Yeah, that's great. Or if a client has, I reach out to that vendor myself and say, hey, my client used you for blah, blah, blah. I'd love to add you to my vendor list, but I gotta know I can count on you. Is that, and that takes you long.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I always tell people too, I get this from my clients, if you ever have that experience.
So you kind of like doing enough different things in your neighborhood that people like naturally connect the dots of who you are rather than going around and being like, I'm the realtor in the neighborhood.
There is one time a year that I'll do that, and that is our neighborhood yard sale, and I'll show you what that is.
Sheridan told me about that.
Oh, have you?
That's cool, yeah.
I've got a $740,000 listing right now from $40.
From what?
$40 in donuts.
$40.
It's
So you take donuts to all the houses?
everybody. I used to have them like in the back of my car and just like hippity hop to all the yard sales. Now I do a wagon and I literally, like, I walked 6 miles over 4 hours. Just through the neighborhood with donuts and flyers and all. It's a long day, but that's where I get the face to face. And then all the other stuff. Kind of builds on that. But to me, I have to get face to face.
So were you the one who went about like being like, we're gonna have a yard sale on this day and?
Our neighborhood already did it. It would kind of, our neighborhood's done it, the HOA does the yard sale, and in fact, that is the one that I had to. Just last week get their date, because September, I was out of town for a wedding. But I went ahead and got theirs, it's in May, so I already have it on my calendar, already blocked that the neighborhood yard sale will be the same. They already do it, but I do a couple things for it, so it's.
I'm just curious, so do you just leave a box of donuts and leave a card?
No, if they're not home or not outside, I don't, it's just people who are outside. We have a very kid-centric neighborhood, so the day of the neighborhood yard sale. Almost everybody is outside doing something, the kids will, one street will have a table of lemonade stand, another will have brownies, like, people are just out on it. It works for me.
So you walk up and you say, I'm.
Well, I'm wearing the bright red KW shirt. And I have my name tag on. And I say, oh my gosh, here, you need sustenance or whatever it is. Would y'all like a donut? Here you go, do all the things. And then I use the donation drive as our in. I tell them about the donation drive, which I'll get to in a minute. I tell them about that. And then I just take the conversation.
Donation drive.
The donation drive. And we'll get to that. So that's what this one talks about, unforgettable events, they gave examples of like mom's and mimosas party, a summer 80s block party, pictures with your pet. Paper shredding's a good one, I did one time. When Georgetown switched from the city doing trash pickup to Republic doing trash pickup. It was a thing in Georgetown, y'all, it was a thing, because Republic did not pick up big items. They did not. Are you in Georgetown?
No, but
Okay.
they just switched in Nicholasville and it's been a while.
Bless you. Bless you. We actually had a city council, this was 2 years ago, and we had a city council meeting that was what it was about this week.
And they
So-
haven't been picking up regularly.
They don't pick up regularly, they don't, if you have like a large item, number one, you have to call and tell them. And number two, you have to do one item at a time, so like if you have a mattress and bed spring. That's gonna take them 2 weeks to pick up, if you have a table and chairs. One chair at a time, like it was a thing, so it was a thing, so I called Hunter with junk lugger.
We still have people in our neighborhood with mattresses and toilets.
Yes.
So it looks so trashy.
I called, people were fired up. I called Hunter with junk luggers, no, he's not junk luggers. Yes, thank you.
What is it called?
Junk Edition.
Yeah.
And said, my neighborhood people are pissed, my neighborhood needs a dumpster, if you can help me with this, we will be hero. And he said, I got you, and I spent, I wanna say it was $450. And we put a dumpster in the cul-de-sac, and they got a phone call from the fire department about that one. Put a dumpster in the cul-de-sac, said, put all your stuff in the dumpster, we're here to help, there you go. So. Whatever.
That was smart.
It's, people. But anyway, so like the paper shredding, I was lined up to do a paper shred. And all of this happened, and I was like, well, scratch the paper shredding, get me a dumpster over here, and we just did a dumpster day.
And you wore your shirt is all the only thing you did?
I wore my shirt, I posted in the community group, and that was it.
So did you stay there at the dumpster the whole day?
No, I had my branding on it, which maybe on a dumpster is not good. But so you can get cheap with some of these. The biggest though is how they follow up. When I talked about, I had one thing for several years, open houses were my one thing. And then follow-up systems were my one thing. I have built out a 36 touch for everybody in my database. So that if I get their activity from something, they go in that database and they are on a follow-up of some kind. Or they're on my just general 36 touch that everybody gets, so that's.
Do tonight.
I use follow-up off, but you can do it.
How much?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it. But it's a monthly email, that I do a newsletter, monthly newsletter, it's neighborhood nurture through command, and it's some other quarterly touches. So. If you're gonna do the work to get them in, know what you're gonna do with them next, because they're not gonna. They're not gonna, oh, I mean, they might, I do get those, that like, hey, I've seen you around, your face is on my fridge, that's always an awkward one. Your face is on my fridge, I want you to list my house right now. They're not all gonna be that, you've gotta have it. So make sure you have those. So that's kind of the first one that I used as a basis, and then I melded it with the next one. Do y'all have any questions?
How often are you sorry,
Sorry, go ahead, Don.
how often are you sending out your open house thing?
Like when I have an open house.
Yeah, that you're sending out. You said 36 touch or something?
Yeah, 36 touch through my database. So that is, everybody in my database gets,
Oh, not just open
No,
house.
not just open
Okay.
house. no, they get a full monthly newsletter, they get neighborhood nurture, they get some other touch.
So are you doing like 3 things a month? Pretty much?
Now, this year, I'm front loading the first half of the year, so they're getting 3 things in their mailbox a month.
Oh, wow, okay. This
No
might be jumping ahead, but can I ask you what you use for your postcards?
This year, and I will tell you what, Core Fact, because they have this. And I've got these for you, and my math coach just found or shared this with me to start the year, and I was gonna do it a couple times and see how it worked. And it works amazing.
Cause like, so I've only done 1 mailer last month, but I wanted the postcard. You know, feel right, and it looked good prior to mailing it, and I mailed one to my house to make sure it got there.
Man,
It was, we did just, yeah, just like a Staples printed, but after the post office printed all over it, it was smeared and you couldn't see half the stuff on it.
yes, and I've done those too. This is mine. Going forward, I will use Core Fact for everything, and I'll tell you the QR code. Is included, that's not an extra fee that I have, and it's address specific. So if you scan that. I know. Emma at 123 Apple Street scanned it at this time on this day. Then if you give me your information, I get that as well. It's amazing.
Wait, where is the QR code linked to?
It goes to, it's in their system, and it's a home valuation system. Do you want your home evaluation? And then I can also, you scan it, you opt in, and now you're getting monthly updates on that system as well.
This is all through Core.
It is all through Core Fact, and I have a referral fee, I just found it this year, Core Fact, CORE, Fact, and it's amazing.
Okay,
And I actually told her, because their customer service has been great too, like, you know, some of them, you just call an 800. I have a girl, the second I signed up for it, I got an email from her, an hour later, I got a phone call, and like, I'm your person, what can I do? So I told her I was doing this, and she was like, yeah, give your people my contact info if you want. But Core Fact is the one, and that I'm using, and I will tell you, the difference, I did kind of a A/B testing, oh, you're fine. The one on the back with the map will be my every one I ever do for the rest of life, because this one, I don't see, like, it gave them this, not a single person scanned that. Cause I was like,
Wait a minute, which one did nobody call, nobody?
this. Cause I did some of their online webinar things, and it was like, brand yourself, do your branding, so I was like, okay, great. Nobody scanned that. People scanned this.
and
Why?
I don't know, but same deal on the Valentine's one.
Does your house work on that one too?
It does, it says use your phone's camera and scan this QR code and visit the website link to view your home's value estimate. Nobody
Okay.
did it, but the
so,
Valentine's one, and this is what I did a sample of too. Gave them 2 options. Again, not a single person scanned that. People scanned that.
What's the map of? There has.
nothing, a generic.
Oh,
This one has Man of War Boulevard on it.
It's okay. You know, it's.
Right. But this, yeah. Yeah, y'all, those are the ones that I've done this year so far.
So it is all through Corpac, like as in they scan this QR code,
I can tell you, I mean, this isn't a four pack. Pitch,
right?
but it's been amazing for me.
So. I'm just confused on as far as like this is for a home valuation, so they scan it,
Yep,
it goes straight to Corpac, and then do they let you know and you
Yep.
do a, CMA or whatever, and then.
yep, no, I don't do it, they get it on their phone. They get it on their phone. Tell you what, I'll show you the core pack at the end,
Okay,
if that works.
Yeah.
Because. You
I mean,
pass it, everyone get a discount, I just give a discount.
yeah.
But-
You don't see anything?
I've done command, I've done real mails, I've done DIY through Vista Parent and Canva and all of that. This will be what I use moving forward for me.
Hey, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
It said on your, have a picture of you on their refrigerator. Is that like a calendar you send them?
That is the back to school calendar, school schedule that has the school calendar on it, that's a magnet.
Oh.
Although I'm just debating if I'm gonna do that one or not this year. Because in Scott County Kroger donated calendar magnets this year. And every kid got one, the first week of school in their folder. But I'm also, I'm torn on it, and part of my thinking is, if I normally send it in July anyway. So if I send it in the mail and I eat the school one anyway, I'll be the one that's on their fridge. I'm torn, I don't know, cause those
Kids
are,
might throw it away,
huh?
kids might throw it away.
Exactly, or like grandma didn't get one, that sort of, so I'm torn, I got pissed when I saw them in school backpack, I was like, dang it, Kroger. But. Anyway, so here's the second one that I kind of used as a basis, again, this is from Family Reunion, their goal was 3 years, I'm on. This will be technically my third year, but really only year 2 truly focusing on it, and this will be the first year that I'm actually doing monthly mailers, things like that, so I'm not quite there yet. But again, if you look at the market share, if I can do 50% market share in my own neighborhood, I will have it. So. It's worth it. So first snail mail, each month, he sends out a real estate focused postcard and at least one just listed or just sold. So my goal has been that every month I will send like a seasonal, just whatever with your home valuation. And then I will send an actual home sales guide. That's my goal every month at least.
And each one of them has the QR code.
From now on, each one will have the QR code. And they also have different options of like what this looks like, whether it's a map, not a map. I'm gonna pick one and be consistent, it will be identical every single time. So that they're seeing that consistency. This will change, but I'm at the point, I'm gonna have my map be identical. I might change this question or the MOFR or whatever. But I'm not gonna mess with like whether it's vertical or horizontal or map or not. I'm gonna be. Cause this did not hit. So I'm not doing that. Even though it gets my face out there. Then boots on the ground, show or preview any home that's on the market in this area, I'll do that. If somebody else lists a home in my neighborhood, I'm either going to the open house or I'm doing a show. I'm getting in it, I'm seeing it, I'm knowing what's up, so that if somebody asks me about it, I can tell you, I can be like, yeah, that was blah, 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 but it smelled like cat. Because that was an actual conversation that I had. So that's why it went for such a low line. Whatever, I'm seeing every single house. Same thing about the social media and Facebook groups, stay in it, stay active, offer vendor recommendations. And again, if you don't have a Facebook page, make one. Start it. See what you can do. And maybe it's not your neighborhood Facebook group. I'll tell you this, Georgetown Moms Facebook group, it's Georgetown Family Moms. Thousands of members, was started by a real estate, I'm friends with, was started by a real estate. It became huge and she gets a lot of referrals from it. I've gotten referrals from it. She doesn't have it locked down agent specific, but she started a Georgetown Kentucky Moms Facebook group and it has blown up. Find something you're interested in and start a group, see what happens.
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
when you go to other people's listings and shutter listings, are you leaving your card?
I've never done that. Maybe I should.
I was, and I still some of the time leave cards for showings, nobody leaves cards for showings.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't leave cards, yeah, I was gonna say, I have cards, but part of why, I'll give you an example, because I didn't get the listing and I was pissed. I, one of the time. Personally, like, I get competitive and it's. When I was walking, one day in my neighborhood, I saw, a house being, what looked to me like flipped from a tenant. Talked to who was there, it was the property manager, they were deciding if they were gonna re-rent it or list it. I gave them my card, but it was the property manager. I thought to myself, I need to get on PBA, I need to make a call, I need to call the owner, I didn't, and it was listed 2 weeks later. So, stuff like that, but that's what I have cards. Okay, stuff like.
I've never understood the leaving on that, like after you show, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just, I'm like, why are they doing?
Yeah, because then it gets into where you're trying to get the seller to call you and now you're going behind
It
the
used to be a
sign.
rule that that's what we.
That's what I know.
Oh, really?
We would get messages saying, please be courteous.
It's
People come home and they don't know if you've been there or not.
exactly, it was a way to let them know.
Well, that's it, with the lockbox, the agent can tell if you showed up,
Yes, but,
you want the seller to know.
well, I mean, the seller will say, I don't even know what they're hanging, and then you got to,
Yeah. That makes sense.
so I was. Kind of surprised that everybody just said, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And then other agents say, well, I don't want other agents leaving cards for my list.
I wouldn't want it. I'm like,
It was a courtesy back then.
Yeah,
Open houses, I've done open houses for, other people's listings, even if they're not with our brokerage, I've done that, there was one. Across the street and diagonal from me that actually still hasn't sold, they took it off the market, so I need to follow up with them. But it was her brother's sister's best friend or something that was listing it, and so I tried, and no, we're going with her. But then I called her and said, hey, can I host an open house for you? It was ridiculously overpriced. Maybe I need to go take them some donuts and say, hey, and see what happens. Join any clubs or activities or things like that, if that's available in your neighborhood. Country club, I have a friend who's an agent that she's like, I'm joining. What is it, at Signature Club at Lansdowne, she's like, I'm gonna pay to join that, and we're gonna go to the pool there and stuff and see how many connections I can get. Cause my husband's an accountant, so she was asking him, is that a business expense? But people do that, you know, join a club for that. And have in your mind while you're there that that's my goal. Things like that. They talk about that, ask me about real estate shirts or hats, like I said, I'm wearing it at ball games and around the neighborhood and all the things, you're gonna know. You're gonna know I'm an agent. Throw parties, it doesn't have to be a massive party, just something that gets people out. I did $200 on a Kona ice truck the night before school started. Let's have a little back to school, Kona ice on me, first 50 cups. Things like that, it doesn't have to be anything major. I'm a little extra and have my kids help me make favor bags for stuff like that, but you don't have to, just, okay. And actually that one made it out of the neighborhood because somebody posted, I don't even know them, but they posted in the Georgetown Moms group, hey, shout out to, and they tagged my business page. She gave one ice to our neighborhood for back to school. Picked up a couple of social media followers.
Did you use the next one?
I don't, I've heard about it, but I don't.
I mean,
Maybe I
it's
should.
very specific.
Okay.
What is that? I'm sorry.
Next door.
Oh,
I don't,
sure.
I don't know about next door, is I remember when I was teaching in a social town, and people said next door was like where you got all the stuff.
It is.
Next door is entertaining, I was.
Yeah.
Not worse, it actually.
No worse than
Facebook,
Okay.
and it's more very specific, because you're gonna be more likely to reach your,
There's more
Right.
spam on there, I've noticed.
it's not a mine.
I feel like there's.
My next door gets. Alexandria Drive.
Well, it does reach, like, I've got several next door neighbors, I've got this one. I'm on this, but it's like, you can be, like, you can put ads on there that are free. You can just make comments that are free. I would say in the next door thing, you need to be less gossipy, just do more of just try to share things and help people. And not really share real estate stuff. But
How are they gonna know you're a real estate?
I mean, you do, you share that you are, but like you don't, not like on Facebook, you don't,
Yeah,
but they have, you know, a marketplace too on Nextdoor. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do. What I'm saying is there's very few people on Nextdoor, so you don't have as much competition either.
I'll check it out now. I'll add it. Thank you.
It's free.
That's awesome. Yeah, all about free. So to get started, here's where I kind of went, and this is where I kind of melded what I got from these two, plus some stuff in the REA, plus some trainings on just holding events and things like that in general. I can be a little extra, but when I plan ahead, I try to do it as cheap as possible. So I started with free and cheap. What were we already doing? Using the neighborhood social media group. What events were there already? My neighborhood already had the neighborhood yard sale. They already have somebody's church encourages them to host an Easter egg hunt. We've had kind of a lackluster, but it exists, fall festival. What things are already there to kind of piggyback on? Donation drives. And I'll show you how I do that with the yard sale, are really cheap and you're doing good and you get your name out there. And then I sponsored like some giveaways and contests. And I'll show you those in just a minute. So here's what it looked like for me. The neighborhood social media group, I joined, and yes, I did this. Recommended vendor. Oh, this one was a post that I did after a couple people were posting about, oh my gosh, this storm. I just did it in the general group. First of all, I hope you're all safe and dry after the storms. We had some shingles blow off. I called a roofer and had a few folks reach out. So I keep a vendor list of all kinds of services. Please reach out if you ever need help. Here you go. Then I've done another one. And then they say go for not all real estate. Give them other things to engage with. Now I don't do things just for that purpose, but it's in the back of my mind. So I did a friendly reminder, bring your stuff in for decks, patios, and porches. My reminder was the wind blowing chair across our deck. Friendly reminder. This one, my daughter changed her birthday theme on me. So instead of trying to take all the crap out, I just said free, extra kids' birthday stuff. Here's what I've got, message for address, and I'll put it on my. Then this one was just entertaining. My kids claim this is the grossest thing in the universe. After that, enthusiastic, great review. If anyone's kids aren't quite as dramatic and they use it like this, I have one we haven't opened yet, I'm glad to let you know. Get my name out there, up in the algorithm, all that, they're seeing me, they're knowing me.
and this is on your neighborhood.
This is the neighborhood one, yeah. Then these were the things that already exist. We had a fall festival. So what I did for that one is I spent $14.99, I think maybe, on a sign at Lowe's because we were having this fall festival and nobody knew we were having this fall festival. That was part of the problem. So I spent $14.99 on a sign at Lowe's. I didn't, or Staples, I didn't brand it as well as I should have that here. That was one of my first ones. And then I called Evans Orchard and said, hey, hypothetically, if I wanted to buy 25 pumpkins to paint, would you give me a discount? They said, absolutely. So I bought 25 pumpkins. I forget what they were a piece. I used my kids' paint that we already had, and I set up a pumpkin painting table with my brand name cards, all that on it at the fall festival. That one was easy and low cost. The neighborhood yard sale is where I get my things, like on everything. And again, they were doing it. So all I did to start the very first time was I just put in the neighborhood Facebook group, and I think I saw this at Family Reunion. Hey, if you're participating in the yard sale, message me your address. And I made, and I posted on social media. I posted in our neighborhood group. It always gets shared out of that, but I'm not, it's not self-promotion, I'm not really doing it. People will post in other Georgetown groups, hey, you're our neighborhood, come see us, all of that. And I make sure to put on there like what I've sold, if there's current ones that are listed, I do call that agent and say, or text that agent, one or two, and say, hey, I'm hosting a neighborhood yard sale, can I put your listing on the thing? And they always said, sure. But it's, I always check, and, collect that, and then like I said, I think I'm up to 6,000 donuts. Put them in the back of the wagon, walk the neighborhood the whole time, and just hand out donuts and talk to people. What I use as a conversation opener is our donation drive. I rent a U-Haul for the weekend, pick it up Saturday mornings. We have to keep it until Monday, because that's when I can drop off at Amen House. I park a U-Haul in the cul-de-sac, leave it unlocked, and tell everybody what I started just with handouts. And as I was walking, I would say, hey, you got this stuff out of your house. If you're like me, you don't wanna put it back in your house. I've got a U-Haul down at the end of Alcorn Green. Whenever you're done, if there's stuff that you wanna get rid of, put it in the U-Haul and I'll take it to Amen House for us. That's my conversation. In fact, I've gotten to the point that I don't even have to pay for the U-Haul anymore. I let KK's Auto Detailing in Georgetown know what I was doing and what it was for, and they said this is great. We'll give you one for the weekend for free every time. So now that's free, and I pay for the donuts, and I pay for a postcard now to send and let them know that it's coming up and have my branding on it. It's another time. This is the
You are
most,
so smart.
this is rip off and duplicate. This was from Family Reunion. Somebody else's play.
So if you send them a postcard and go by with the donut?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you tell them that ahead of time,
Yeah,
you're gonna have a garage sale, and then after the fact, here's gonna be the truck.
yeah.
And then you walk by personally that day.
That day.
You want a flyer, or you give them a card, or you're like a flyer that reminds them, here's where the truck is, and now that's the end of this, and you just leave it unlocked, and
Yep.
these are the hours. And you pick it up.
I just tell it's there till Amen House opens on Monday, but I do tell them when it's full, it's full. You know, get your stuff down there. And then I do make a big poster that I put on the truck with my branding, that this truck is for the donation drive, sponsored by, supported and opposite all.
Are you just canvaing it up for all these?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Canva. Just Canva. The name, yeah.
Back to your QR code on there, have you ever, what's producing the valuation that's coming automatically, and have you ever had a kickback on that where somebody calls, has anybody called you on it and it's?
Not yet, I just started running with corporate anywhere. So I'm just getting there, when I ran it from my house, it was pretty accurate. And it lets you, what I like, it's kind of a cool tool, you can go in there and say, well, I've done more upgrade, you can like kind of scale it, well, I've done more upgrades, and my house isn't in great shape. And it's one of the, it gives them a range, it doesn't give them anything specific, but then it also has a click here to contact her for more detail. So I like that.
And, do you call them anyway, like once you get there?
I have a follow-up plan for it, it's, cause I have my settings set up. Where it's not mandatory to give me your phone and email, so I have two different plays. If you give me your phone and email, you get a handwritten card. Either way, you get a handwritten card. Thank you for checking out my home evaluation I mailed to you. If you're interested in more detail, I forget how, if you're interested, I think I say, if you're thinking about home renovations or making a move, I'd love to help, you can call. So they get that, they get, if I have their contact, they get a text and an email within the first week. And then I have a 4-week follow-up after that with phone call, text and email. And then they go on to one of my longer term stuff. This is also a cheap one, just in the neighborhood group, for $50. Of very, like, first, second, and third place, I think it's 20. 30, I forget, it adds up to $50, so 25, whatever it is. For first, second, and third place. And this, I haven't sent mailers yet, I probably will this year. But again, we're a kid heavy neighborhood, they decorate like heck, it started in COVID. That Halloween, that nobody could trick or treat, we were one of those neighborhoods that have like the shoots and the cannons and the decorations and all the things. So I started the contest then. You win a gift card, all you gotta do is send me a picture of your house, or your neighbor's house, or whatever, and then I'll drive around, take pictures. We put them in the Facebook group, whichever has the most likes, I come by and give them their properties. It gets engagement, it gets my name out, cost me $50, that's a low cost. Questions about those?
Email.
I did not do mailers for that, this year I will. This year I will, cause I'm being more budget and stuff. Then I went to the events that were my own, this is a cheap and easy one, it was a 4th of July bike parade. And actually, my mother-in-law had bought 1,000,000 popsicles, don't ask me why, and I knew we were never gonna eat them, so I stuck a sticker on them. And had them at the bike parade and just posted in the neighborhood group, hey, we're having a bike parade at, I think it was 11 o'clock on July 3rd, and I forget what. Have your kids decorate their bikes, come to the cul-de-sac, and we'll have a bike parade. And they did, and we had a great turnout, and it was cheap and easy. Kids decorated their bikes, I mean, you can see the little. We were having fun, I got all the popsicles out of the first. It worked. This one was again the Kona Ice one I did not do a mailer for that one. Again, last year I was not as intentional in budgeting for it. This year it's on my budget. I will do a mailer for that as well. And then when I do other giveaways and contests, one of my biggest giveaways on my social media is in May. I do a, not biggest cash amount, but biggest engagement for me is my teacher appreciation giveaway. So I do that within the neighborhood as well, because we all go to the same schools, so we can have those conversations. Oh, yeah, I had this.
This is just your back to school.
This is, yeah, these are, that one is not, but I hit my neighborhood. So yes, the Kona Ice and the bike parade, I just,
I love it.
it's easy. And then the next level from there is hidden mailboxes. That's where you budget and you plan. My goal, I will tell you, my goal with mailers, and it's a little bit off with these things now, but I want to quarterly have something that will stick on their fridge and stay there. So like I did a whole fall festival one, that I'm like, my goal is that will go on your fridge from September till October. Like, that is my goal. That this will go on your fridge and you will use it all year long because it's that you will stick that up there and, oh yeah, I will remember the garage there, whatever it might be. So I'm working those in as well. When we had the Easter egg hunt, I did do a mailer for that. That one's in Canva, learned about bleed areas, oops. Now I know it doesn't look great there, but.
So like the school calendar and the fall festival, that's your core fact deal?
No, this was before I got to work.
Okay.
This is the one time I tried to use a local vendor and I won't do, but I won't do the listen.
Magnets USA.
And then this one that Magnets USA, who I will.
Say that,
This one,
or whatever, where you. Are you creating them yourself, or is it something that Corfac creates?
Core does all of these, when it needs to be custom, for instance, this one, all of these Corfac designs, the only thing I had to do was plug in my numbers for this and plug in the addresses for that. This one, I'm using Corfac to mail, but because it's a custom event, I had to design it in Canva.
But you can design your
You can
own.
do it in
Okay.
Canva and then you can upload it, and then you have the choice that for this one, I could upload my own front and back. Or I can use my front and their back,
Okay.
however you wanna do it, but you can do it for Corfac. And then I didn't even know this until my rep told me when I sent her this. I had my QR code to go to my Google form, and she said, no, send me this as a JPEG instead of a PDF. And I'm gonna swap that QR code for you, it will still direct you to the Google form, but because it's using their magic QR code, if somebody scans it but doesn't fill out the form, it will still notify that Jane Smith at 1, 2, 3, whatever. I was like, okay. So that's what I.
So what about cost?
I'm getting perfect.
Patience.
I know, it's all I can think of.
That's the big one. Okay, here are my final tips. Be consistent. Whatever you're gonna do, be consistent. My goal is 3 months for the first 6 months this year. Because I'm front loading as much as I can. It's not a fast return. You're not gonna get the first time you send something, but the more you build it, the more you'll get. Partner opportunities I've not used yet, but lenders, other people, I can see what are the multiple touch points? For me, mailbox, social media, in person, how are they seeing me many times? And then keep it manageable. My number one goal is how am I gonna get your contact info? Yes, you see me on the street, but I want you in my database. So, you're gonna register to come to movie day. You're gonna use my form to nominate your teacher for a prize. When you send me a picture of your house for the Halloween contest, I'm getting your name, address, and phone. All of those things. Now I got you in my database. Now it's game on with follow-up, and eventually I'll sell your house. Here were my expenses last year. I was not monthly on my mailers, but this is everything that I spent. I was all in at about $6,300. I dropped, there's no Christmas contest on here. I dropped the ball. Everybody got sick, my daughter's birthday, all things. We didn't do it. But, so I had $50 if I had done that. These were my costs. I closed $860,000 in volume from my own neighborhood or referrals from people in my neighborhood. So this was a 3-to-1 return on my $6,000. I would rather do this than pay Zillow leads or anything.
Yep.
So that's where I kind of looked at this. And what I'm doing this year, and again, I will evaluate at the end of March. But my budget is, I've set aside roughly $1,000 a month to see what can I do with that with events and mailers. So here's where I am. This is what I've done so far. This has not hit mailboxes yet. And my price actually went up because when you see my overall price, it's a little bit inflated because the movie theater was not able to confirm this for me until Monday. So I could not order this until Tuesday, and I had to put rush for first class mailing on it because of the date. So my cost will be a little bit inflated on that, but here's where I am for the year. For all of these, I'm all in at $2,500. That's 3,200 pieces of mail so far this year, and my average is 82 cents each. Every single one that I have mailed this year is through CoreFact, and I will continue to do that. I'm budgeting about $400,000, or excuse me, $400 for my movie day. And that keeps me right on budget. That will end by March, and that will keep me right on budget at $1,000, hopefully. And from this, here's what I've gotten so far. I've held 3 of the 4, one of them is next week. I've held 4 appointments. I've added 24 people to my database. I've reconnected with 5 people who were in my database. This is just since January. And what I've noticed is because they're in my farm, because I'm doing that kind of extended farm I talked about with people who are already in my database, I'm getting the 2-way conversation ratio as well. Like of the 24 people who were added to my database, every single one of those reconnections answered my call. One of those turned into an appointment already. And then the others, they're answering my calls or my emails, which is big. So here's where I am, potential volume from those appointments. And it's March. So to me, it's worth it.
Yeah, let me ask you, how many houses do you do together for mailers?
When I hit it's 850.
So your 82 cents is probably because you do a lot. Like, does that?
If you do over 500 in a batch, you get a little bit of a discount, but the CoreFact is cheaper than doing it through command. I do know that blew me away at first. I was like, oh, well, what am I gonna pay for all the QR code and all that? It's still cheaper than doing it through command, even if you only do 100. So, no offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just telling. But it's worthwhile. To answer your question of like what it looks like. This was just me trying to run some rough numbers, but then I wasn't sure of. If I have to call that 30, so I closed 3 in my neighborhood. which was 13% of more closed, but I don't know if I need to cut that in, to account for both sides. So like there were 46 opportunities instead of 23, which would put me at 6% market share instead of 4% market share. But,
I'd say if you're getting buyers, that they're probably moving out, or, I don't know, they might be
Yes.
moving within the neighborhood, but.
yeah. I'll show you the Quarterback thing. I'll write them,
That is so nice that you have like a person at Quarterback that
yes,
you actually work with.
yes.
Do we charge you monthly or by the project?
By the project.